This is going to be told by pictures, so I'm just going to try and describe it as they appear. First of all, what I did was I got the spars ready for mounting, got the weather band in place in strips, and I basically made it onto the roof and put them evenly out and screwed them down through the weather band, making sure I didn't hit any wood only. Next was mounting the actual panel that I'd already assembled on the previous video. This was quite simple, although there are mistakes you can make. I started to go a bit more elaborate with what I should have done, and I nearly paid for it with a trip to the hospital, but I was lucky and fancy footwork saved the day. Basically what I'd done was I tried to rig up a pulley system to actually raise one end of the actual panel so it was slid up the side rather than me having to manually turn it. Unfortunately I use a weak cable tie, and the rest you'll see on the video. I almost fall, but I actually catch myself and actually keep my footing and stop myself going off the edge. So basically it was just a near miss, and you can see me just raise my feet there from the edge and come back up. It would have been probably minor injuries, at worst probably a broken limb, but lesson learned. So I went with a lot more of a straightforward method, and that was just hauling it up, and as you'll see in this next video. Okay, so what's happening now is the first panel's actually been mounted already, but I made a second video here to show you it being done the right way. The first one was done a bit trickier. After that near miss, I basically caught my breath and just manually turned it into position. At some points I had to have it right on the edge to get it up, because these are right far high on the roof, as you may have noticed. They're not low down. It's so that when I put the next panels in, they're not going to be in the way. Anyway, here I'm doing it the right way. I've got a cat ladder, or a ladder acting as a cat ladder, and I'm bracing my feet against it as I'm actually going to be pulling this up the roof. If you don't do this, you'll end up sliding down the roof. It's obvious, really. So basically, I'm just pulling it up using my feet braced against the ladder. Here we go. It's been a bit stubborn, so I need to go a bit low. I think, yeah, at this point, I need to lift it slightly because it's actually a little bit too low. It needs to come a bit higher, so the centre of gravity is more on the roof. I should add that really I'm being a bit naughty here. You should be harnessed off doing this job to stop yourself falling off the edge. Here we go though, bracing it and up it comes, slowly but surely. It is heavier than it looks, let me tell you, all that whole assembly that I'm just pulled up. If anyone's interested on the actual rigging I use, I basically used a single Weber type sling with a single bite, and basically off the eye of the single bite I had that thick yellow rope coming off it, and that allowed me to get a lot more leverage. It's a very strong rope. It's a bit cumbersome, but it's good rope. And here it is in place, and that's the hard bit done. The rest of it's just, you know, wiggle work, as you just see me doing here. Just wiggling it up and getting into position. Another good point I should add is when you're bringing this onto the spars, if you're using the spar method I've used, you should already have a screw halfway down, so that when you're working at one end, you can have the other end resting on the screw or a nail. You could use a nail as well, just lightly hammered in, and that way you're not fighting against the panel assembly sliding down the roof again. Now on that previous section you saw me nearly fucking kill myself on, basically that was because I was trying to be smart. I was trying to get the end lifted up the roof using a separate lifting system instead of using the screw method, which is what I've got right now. This is a bit of a pain in the arse. Literally, you've got to lift it all the way up to the end of the roof, swivel it without it falling off the end, because you've got to work right on the edge. It basically allows you to work on the presumption of inertia. You know, you get balanced so it's on the edge, so it's easy to handle then. It's a bit risky, but you'll see me getting it now. Alright, if anyone's wondering now at this stage, is I'm going to be tying off the rope so it's not going to be this panel assembly is not going to be sliding back down the roof, and after I've done that I'm going to be swiveling it so it's basically nose to nose against the other panel, if you will. It's going to basically be on a horizontal to horizontal. Now, one of the things you've got to be doing when you've built a cabin like I've built, you see how I'm walking in a peculiar manner up there? It's basically so I'm not walking on a weak area, because there's beams and there's gaps. I don't want to be walking on a gap, I want to be walking on a beam, otherwise I might go through it. Now I'm starting to basically get it into its horizontal configuration here. All is going well, and it's going to be basically resting on the screw once I basically get it fully configured. You know, it's not an easy job to do, but you know, if you're confident on roofs and you're not working on a very steep roof, this is okay. If it was any steeper than this, I probably would be using a cat ladder for the whole work rather than just, you know, just for the lift part. Now here we go, I'm actually getting it so it's turned right. You know, obviously at this point I'm being very careful because I'm on the fucking edge of that left-hand roof pitch there. So I'm working very slowly, gently wiggling it into the right way and getting it onto that stupid screw that's going to stop it going down the roof. I'm obviously being careful not to have it going over the other side of that roof, as I was mentioning earlier. This is a risk when you're doing it at this stage of the roof, at this extent of the roof. Obviously, if you're going for just a couple of solar panels on the roof, don't do this. Go in the middle of the roof or lower down on the roof. You know, part of the reason it's up this high is to catch as much sunlight as possible as well, by the way. Okay, that's the rope now, that's done. Now it's on the screw, resting on the screw, which I'll probably point out using the boxes. I don't need the rope anymore, that can just go over there, out of the way. And then it's just a case of fine-tuning it, just getting it onto the spars so they're all even, and they're all happy, and they're all ready for the next stage, which is me basically going to be drilling it all down, getting the drill out and screwing it all down. I'm probably cursing now because it's not lined up properly and I'm being a perfectionist or something about it, who knows. All I remember is it wasn't easy being in a position like that, and flipping back was killing me after doing this job. Because I was up and down the roof doing the spars, and then I was doing the panels straight afterwards, so it was a busy few days getting these panels mounted. It was quite intense. I'm glad I don't have to go back up there in a hurry. So now it's just a case of getting the drill out and getting the screws out and doing what needs to be done.